Oscar Franklin Smith was executed on May 22, 2025, at the Riverbend Maximum Security Institution in Nashville, Tennessee. He was 75 years old and one of the longest-serving inmates on death row in the state.
Oscar Franklin Smith was put to death on May 22, 2025, at the Riverbend Maximum Security Institution in Nashville, Tennessee. He was 75 years old. He has spent more than 30 years on death row. Even though he said he was innocent up until the very end, the courts would not change their minds. He became the first person in Tennessee executed with a single dose of pentobarbital drug. His lawyers showed DNA evidence that might have helped him, but judges refused to reopen the case. Governor Bill Lee turned down his plea for mercy, and at exactly 10 a.m. the execution went ahead. His last meal included hot dogs, tater tots, and apple pie with vanilla ice cream. On October 1st, 1989, in Nashville, Tennessee, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. In a small house in the Woodbine neighborhood, Judith was spending a peaceful Sunday with her teenage sons, Chad and Jason. They watched movies, laughed sometimes, and smelled dinner being cooked. Judith had married Oscar Franklin Smith in 1985. She had Chad and Jason from her previous marriage, and Oscar had 2 teens of his own. They also had twins together, but by the mid-1989s, their marriage was over. They separated in June and fought in court over who would keep the twins. Around 5 p.m., someone knocked on the door. Judith answered and saw Oscar standing there. They argued loudly. Suddenly, a shot rang out. Judith fell, wounded. Jason, the younger son, ran out and froze when he saw what happened. Oscar looked at him without emotion and stabbed him 3 times. Jason tried to scream but couldn't. Chad, the older brother, tried to save him by punching Oscar. Then Oscar fired 2 more shots. One hit Chad's chest and the other his neck. In less than 5 minutes, Oscar Franklin Smith had killed Judith, Chad, and Jason. He calmly took a few things from the house and closed the door behind him as if nothing had happened. Nothing changed in the house that night. The lights stayed on, the TV played, the house was silent as if time had stopped. The next morning, a 13-year-old neighbor who often checked on the boys knocked on the door. When no one answered, he peeked through the window and saw the horror inside. He ran away screaming. Minutes later, police would arrive. They found Judith in the hallway with a gunshot wound and deep cuts. Jason laid near the dining room, stabbed with his eyes wide open. Chad was on the bedroom floor, killed instantly by 2 bullets. There was blood everywhere. Furniture was overturned, a broken lamp, and in the middle of the mess, a bed sheet with a blood palm print, but it had 2 fingers missing. Detectives soon focused on Oscar Franklin Smith. Court records show that he had threatened Judith many times before. 1 month before the murders, he tied her up and raped her and said he would kill her. He often called the Wrongful house where she worked to insult her and threaten her. He once told her father, "I've been playing with her with silk gloves, but now it's time to take those off." He even offered money to anyone who would kill her. In the months before the crime, he took out an insurance policy on Judith and her sons. Forensic experts explained that the bloody palm print on the sheet, it was a left hand missing the middle and ring finger, the same 2 fingers he lost in a work accident years ago. The print shape, wrist angle, and skin creases matched his hand exactly. With that proof, police didn't need much more. Oscar Franklin Smith was arrested just a month after the murders. He denied everything, claimed he hadn't even been there, but the crime scene told another story. During the attack, Chad managed to make a phone call. The phone call had been recorded. You can hear shouting in a desperate voice in the background, "Help me," before the phone cut off. He even called Oscar by his middle name, Frank. The trial began July 1990 in Davidson County. The prosecution laid out every detail: previous violence life insurance policies, the bloody handprint, and the phone recording. They also showed that Oscar had tried to create a false alibi, saying that he was on a work trip, but he couldn't prove it. The defense argued the palm print might have been left there before, when Oscar used to live there, but the jury didn't believe that either. Family members of Judith testified, including her own sister, who said Oscar had abused her many times as well. The verdict was unanimous. Oscar Franklin Smith was found guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to death by lethal injection. He spent 35 years on death row at Riverbend. During this time, he insisted he was innocent, and he said he was enduring some harsh conditions. In 2022, he came within hours of execution, but was spared because of problems with the lethal injection protocol. Despite appeals and new DNA evidence suggesting somebody else might have done this, the courts refused to reopen the case. Governor Bill Lee wouldn't intervene. In his final days, Oscar remained in near total isolation. When the time came, he laid on the gurney looking very pale, his hands wrapped in medical tape, and his spiritual advisor praying beside him. His final words were more than goodbye, they were an accusation. He told the governor the justice system was broken and too many innocent people were executed. He said ordinary people like himself, who didn't have experts to defend themselves, might be innocent. Then he whispered twice, "I didn't kill her. I didn't kill her."
Good morning again. I'm Frank Strada, Commissioner for Tennessee Department of Corrections, and today on May 22nd, 2025, by order of the Tennessee Supreme Court, the Department of Correction carried out the death sentence of Oscar Franklin Smith by means of lethal injection at the Riverbend Maximum Security Institution. Inmate Smith was pronounced dead at 10:47 a.m. This concludes my statement. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of our family, we want to express our deepest gratitude to the investigators, law enforcement officers, and everyone within the judicial system who worked tirelessly to seek justice for our sister, Judy, and our 2 nephews, Chad and Jason. Their dedication and commitment during this unimaginable, difficult time has meant more to us than words can say. Oscar Frank Smith was tried and sentenced to the death penalty by the state of Tennessee after a jury's careful deliberation based on the brutality of the 3 murders that included 2 children. As a family of the victims, we believe that in the importance of accountability and the role of the judicial system that it plays in maintaining safety and order of our society. The sentence was not ours to determine, but we stand by the legal system that made the decision.
My name's Terry Osborne. I was formerly a Roberts, my sister and my nephews. The pain of losing Judy, Chad, and Jason is something that we will continue to carry. It's not a moment that goes by that we don't miss them. I miss the sound of Judy's voice. I know my brother does as well. On the other end of the phone, we miss the excitement of planning Chad's driving lessons, and we miss the pure joy of hearing Jason's laughter. These are memories and wounds that will never fully heal.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.